tonight on the impacts and explaining how this even could happen live at RSW. And Shari, this did impact passengers and flights there today. We're seeing it right here on the board.
Nadine, it is still impacting passengers and flights here in Southwest Florida. We have been talking to people here throughout the day who tell us they've been waiting hours to either leave or they waited hours to arrive here. So we are still seeing the impacts, even though that pause happened this morning. At last check on FlightAware, 113 flights were delayed, 4 were canceled. I want to give you a look at the big board right now just to see what we're dealing with here. So as you can see, as we look at departures, you see that now at time flashing next to so many of these flights, indicating a delay, a change in the original time that that flight was scheduled for. And this is something, as we talked to, we've heard so many people mention that it's been impacting their travel. Now, the FAA is calling this a mechanical issue that forced them to ground all flights across the country this morning. This is historical. We haven't seen this since 9/11. So you might be asking, why did the pause get issued? Well, pilots use a system called NOTAM. It stands for Notice to Air Missions. It's a system that hands out essential information that they need about flight operations up to the latest minute so that they have a smooth trip and they're aware of what's going on in airspace. Now, NOTAM notifies pilots of things like runway closures or radio air traffic control stations being out of service or things like construction cranes being in the way. So that is why Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says those systems are so essential.
Where overnight there was an issue with irregularities in the messages that were going out that reflected a bigger systems issue. And this morning, as of about 7 o'clock, there were still problems validating that the messages were going out. So for safety reasons, to make sure that every aircraft that took off was doing so safely, FAA implemented a ground stop lasting about an hour and a half from about 7:30 to 9.
So Southwest Florida, Nadine, I was on Twitter earlier today and I saw some of the things that were trending. One of them was hashtag cyber attack. People chiming in asking if this was a cyber attack. So I want to share this with you as Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says there's no direct evidence of that, but quote, we are also not going to rule that out until we have a clear and better understanding of what's taken place. I wanted to give you that direct quote as this is a developing situation.